In Chapter 6, we're going to take a look at creating specialized tables and indexes. And very simply, we're going to look at creating, inserting, and updating a table of contents, a table of figures, and an index. And those are essentially the objectives that we find on page 215. So although there's only 3 objectives, there is quite a few items that we'll be looking at within each of these areas. If you'll look on page 216, 17, and 18, you'll find the model answers and the ways that we're going to develop the projects throughout the chapter. And in Project 1, we are going to open a report that you can see on my screen here, Air AI report, where we'll insert a table of contents in Project 1. We're going to look at some other things later on, but we'll insert a table of contents, and then we'll also make some changes to that table of contents and then update the table of contents after making those changes. And we've looked at table of contents previously in level 1, but essentially, if you'll recall, a table of contents does appear at the beginning of our book that you see in front of you. Also could appear in front of a manuscript, a report, any kind of document that you would have that you would want to guide the reader throughout the document. The table of contents consists of headings and subheadings, and then they have page numbers associated with each one of those, describing where those particular topics are located throughout the document. A table of contents, when you use that table of contents feature, it basically builds the table of contents based on built-in styles that have been applied throughout the document. Also, custom styles can be applied, as well as assigning levels and marking text. Okay, I apologize for the phone ringing there. So the table of contents is created based on styles or assigning levels and marking text to text within the document. So the first thing that you want to do if you're going to be using the table of contents, the built-in feature for that, you would want to go throughout your document and use the headings that you have, apply heading 1 styles to your first level areas that you want to use in your table of contents, and then heading 2 styles would be used for your second level, heading 3, and so forth. So if you want to apply those styles and then use those styles to create your table of contents, you can do that. But it does have to be your table of contents. In order for it to work, you have to have styles, or you've had to have marked text, which we'll look at doing that later too, in order to generate that table of contents. And then the table of contents by default will put in little Roman numerals, and you can change the format of those page numbers as well, and we'll learn to do that. Also, when you create a table of contents, it's kind of cool too, if you use that document electronically, you can hold down the control key and click on a specific heading within your table of contents, and it'll automatically navigate you to that particular heading in the document. So it's a great, kind of like a hyperlink is what it is. It allows you to quickly jump to that area within your document. So we're going to begin first of all in Project 1A. I've opened up the file here that they've requested, and we're going to build a table of contents based on the styles that have already been created within this document. You'll notice this first one here, heading 1. Speech recognition is heading 2. So there's headings that have been applied throughout the document already. So somebody's already done that. And then what we're going to do is just use the table of contents feature to generate a table of contents. So the first thing that we're going to do is go to the beginning of the document, and we're going to insert a page break so that we can place the table of contents at the beginning. We'll also, in addition to a page break, need to include a section break because we want to keep all the formats separated from the table of contents with the remaining part of the report. So we're going to insert a next page section break, and to do that, in fact, let me go right here. We're going to go into the Page Layout tab, and in the Setup group, Page Setup group, we're going to go to Breaks, or Insert Page and Section Breaks, and then Next Page Section Break. So that kicks it to the next page. We've got the blank page up above, and if I go to the Draft view, You'll also see that the section break was included there. Okay. All right, now also in the body of the report, they want us to add page numbering so that it appears at the bottom of every page, and it'll be in the lower right hand corner. But right now you can see that there's no page numbering within the document. So we're going to put that in, and again, I'm in the second section of the document. Okay, so to insert the page numbering, one way we can do that is to go to the page number button, and let's go to the Insert tab. And in the header and footer group, we're going to choose page number, and then we're going to choose bottom of the page, and then we're going to also apply plain number 2. And that actually puts it in the center. I apologize for that. I thought we were putting it in the lower right hand corner. So let's check out the first page. See, that should not have a page number on it. In fact, we'll come back to that because you typically want to number your table of contents with a little Roman numeral I. So we're going to go through and make changes first of all. Let's go in here and turn off the same as previous, and I'm going to do that by clicking on the link to previous. Now any changes that I make down in this footer will not affect what's going on up in here. Okay, so at this point we are going to change it so that the actual body of the report starts in with number 1, and the table of contents shouldn't have, it'll have page numbering on it, but it'll be little Roman numerals for the page numbering. So to start a different page number, I'm going to make sure that that's selected, and then I'm going to go back to the header and footer group on your header and footer tools design tab. I'm going to click on page number and then format page numbers. And at that point we're going to leave it at the Arabic numbers here, but we want it to start at 1. And then we'll click OK. So now we're starting at 1. Go ahead and scroll down here. You'll be able to see 2, 3, and 4. This still has 1 on it. We'll make a change to that a little bit later on. Okay. Now I'm going to get out of the header footer pane. I'm just going to close header and footer button. That gets me back to the regular viewing mode. And then we're going to insert the table of contents. So I'm going to go back up to the very top of the document by pressing Control Home. And the table of contents is found in the Reference tab. And in the Table of Contents group, I'm going to click on the Table of Contents button. And the built-in table of contents that we're going to use is the Automatic Table 1. And that inserts the table of contents. Notice it has the page numbers on the right hand side. The heading 1 words with the heading 1 styles applied to it are the first level identifiers within the contents area, and then heading 2, words that had heading 2 applied to it have a second level. By default, the title here does have contents in it, and they're going to leave it like that for now. Many times the actual title for that should be table of contents, and you can click right in front of that, type in table of contents if you wanted to. Okay. And at this point, again in Project 1A, step number 5 has us changing the number to a little Roman numeral. So I'm going to double click to get into the footer pane, and then we're going to go back to the page number button, back to Format Page Numbers, change the number format to little i's, and then we'll click OK. So that'll start the Roman numeral little tiny I for the table of contents. However, with the body of our report, it still has Arabic numbers that identify each of the page numbers within the body of the report. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get out of the header footer area. I'm just going to double click within the document. And then we're going to take a look at customizing and updating the table of contents. And there's a lot of ways that you can customize it, choosing different formats and just changing the appearance of the table of contents. Also, when you add additional headings or move headings or delete them within the body of the report, now you do have to go back to the table of contents and update the table of contents. It doesn't do automatically correct and update. You have to manually go back and force a change to update the table of contents. So we're going to look at doing that in Project 1B, and then they'll finally have us removing a table of contents as well. So still in the same document, we're going to go back, make sure we're on the top of the document in the table of contents area, and we're going to modify both level 1 and level 2 styles within the table of contents. We're basically just going to change the font size, and also the we're going to make it italic. So, and we'll do some other things in there too, but we're just going to make some changes to the table of contents. So to do that, we're going to go back to the Reference tab, and in Table of Contents, we're going to go to the Table of Contents button. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but at the bottom of that menu, there's an Insert Table of Contents option. Go ahead and click on that, and that gets you into the Table of Contents dialog box. And within this, now we can make some changes to each of the levels. So to do that, we're going to go into the Modify button. That'll bring in the Style dialog box, and for our first level, we want to modify that so that the font is at 12 and it's italicized. Okay, so we're only making a couple of changes there. Keep in mind you could do a lot of other things in here, but we're just making some simple changes so that you can recognize that you can make changes to those styles. Click OK, and then we're going to modify the second level as well to the same thing. We're going to increase the font size of that to 12, and we're going to italicize it. Click OK, and then out of the Style dialog box, so click OK there. That updates. Shows you in the preview what it's going to look like. And then we also want to remove the option that right aligns, and I think I missed that right there. Right align page numbers. Okay, so we're going to remove that so that it doesn't right align it, which you know, that's a matter of preference, but anyway, we'll click OK out of that. It says, do you want to replace the selected table of contents? Yes. So now we've changed our format based on our 12 point. Kind of see that's been changed. It's italicized. It's removed the dot leaders and also pulled the page numbers to the left. Okay, so after doing that, then they want us to go back and apply a different formatting style, going through those same steps. Go back to the References tab, Table of Contents, Insert Table of Contents, which again I don't know that you can see that, but that takes you back into the Table of Contents dialog box. And this time we're going to make some changes to the style. The general format, they want us to apply the formal style to that. And also the tab leader, rather than having dot leaders, they want to have a solid line that separates the title and the page number. And then the levels, rather than showing 3, I guess they do want that. Yeah, that should be 3 levels. And that's it. Then we'll see how that changes our existing table of contents. Again, do you want to replace the selected table of contents? Okay. So now we've got a formal table of contents, we've got that solid underline, and the numbers are on the right hand side, right aligned. Okay. All right, now if we make changes to the body of our report, for example, if we want navigation, that's kind of at the bottom here. If we want to force that to the next page, if we insert a page break, now I'm going to press Control Enter, that forces it to page 5. Okay. If you go back up to your table of contents, navigation is on page 3. And we want to update that so that it reflects changes that we've made. So if we click inside the table of contents, we can either press F9, or if you click on Update Table, you got options here to update page numbers only or update entire table. Really all we did there was force text to the next page, so we want to update page numbers only. So we'll click OK to that. That should, is that on 5? It's on 4. I apologize. I was looking at the status bar before. It's really on page 4 of your report. So it updated that to reflect where the navigation area is located. Now, to navigate to that, while I'm talking about navigation, if you notice the little tooltip there, if you click Control and just click, if you hold down the Control key and click on this particular heading, it'll immediately take you to that in your document, which is, again, a great way to navigate throughout a very long document.